Hello fellow makeup lovers, how are you guys doing? Today we are going to play with the new Ace Beaute Tropical Vibes palette. I saw the reveal of this and I just had to go ahead and purchase it immediately. I feel like this is such a beautiful grungy green color story. I just couldn't help myself, so I figured today we could go ahead and do some live swatches, do an eye look, and I'll kind of give you guys my opinions so far. Ace Beaute did reformulate their palettes and I've had a lot of luck with the new formulation, so I'm hoping that this palette is really great and I love it and there are no regrets because the color story just looks beautiful. Also, at the end, I figured I would go ahead and do some comparison swatches between the greens in here and the Ace Beaute Oceanic palette, and then also maybe do a little comparison with the classical Paradise palette as well, just anything that's similar. Before we jump into all of that, if you are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Amy and I do a ton of content around independently owned makeup brands. So if you'd like to see more of that in your subscription feed, don't forget to subscribe. I love to review and talk about small brands and just find the hidden gems in the makeup world. So I feel like it's worth sticking around for, but that's just me. So now let's go ahead and try out this palette. So the very first shade we have here is called Mango, and this is just like a pretty bright yellowy green, but it looks to be more yellow than green because we also have a chartreuse here which looks to be similar but more green than yellow. So you've kind of got both options with this palette, which I love that kind of pop to a green grungy look. We've got Palm Tree, which looks so nice. Such a beautiful grungy green, kind of like baby puke shade. I feel like I haven't heard that on YouTube in a while, but that's definitely, I mean, kind of goes with my sweater a little bit. I love those kind of colors. We've got Khaki, which doesn't really look like a khaki shade to me. It's a little bit too like golden. It's like a golden grungy shade. I'm so here for it. Okay. The texture so far feels pretty smooth. Next we have our first shimmer, which there are only 3 shimmers in the palette, so that's something to keep in mind if you don't like a matte heavy eyeshadow palette, but this is called Rainforest. Oh my goodness. Okay, that is beautiful. Super pretty, kind of like greeny gold, very shiny shade. It's actually super similar to Alamar Cosmetics. I have it right here. Okay, I have the Reina del Caribe palette here. It's so similar to El Malecon. I don't know if you can see, this one might be just a little bit more green, but very similar vibes. Next we have Pickle, another super grungy green, kind of like dirty olive shade. We've got Palawan. It's more of like a deep true green. So pretty. I feel like my swatches are a little wonky, but they look so good. Next we have Olive, which is an olive green with a little bit less dirty than the Pickle shade. We've got, oh gosh, I'm not sure how to pronounce this, Oahu. I'm not sure. So that's like a very like grungy lime green, super, super pretty. And then we've got Jungle, which is similar to Olive. It's just a little bit more yellow. I feel really happy swatching this right now because if you like a grungy green, like I just feel like there's so many options in this palette with the mattes. Like I feel like there's a lot of palettes out there that do have grungy greens, but it's normally like a pop here and there, or it's like you have like 2 or 3 grungy matte shades. It's like a smaller color story kind of thing. So this just feels like a lot all at once, and I'm here for it. Next we have an Army Green, which is called Army. We've got Safari, so this is just like a really warm, rich kind of clay brown, which honestly I could live without, but I could see how it could add some interesting twist to some of these looks that would come out of this palette. We've got National Park, which again, the texture and the shine of this looks above and beyond. Like, what a stunning gold. Lastly, we've got Chartreuse, which I'm like I feel like I'm swatching it weird just because it's so cute. I don't want to mess up the little flower, but it's just a chartreuse, very bright green. We've got Cave, which I would say is almost a black. Like it looks like it has the tiniest amount of like purple to it. I don't know if that's just me. Like I feel like I might need to like swatch that out and compare it to another black to see, but I feel like there's a little something going on there. And then lastly, we have Seychelles, which another stunning shimmer. Wow. I love the texture of the shimmers in here. Yeah, I mean, it just looks like a super deep eggplant brown black combination. It doesn't look completely like a true black shade, but look at that. Oh, it's so sparkly. I'm very happy with the way this swatched. I think it looks stunning. So here's what everything looks like nice and up close. So pretty. Okay, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and start off with the shade Palm Tree. This is honestly so hard to choose because every single color is calling to me right now. So I already feel like I absolutely must do a 3 looks 1 palette video with this, but just gonna go ahead and throw that through my entire crease as my transition shade and just lightly start blending upwards. I mean, I feel like it's such a pretty color. It's blending pretty easily. I'm definitely going to use a ton of matte shades just to make sure that everything builds up really nicely. But so far, I like it. I'm going to go in with a second layer right through the crease just to make it a little bit more opaque after I've already blended it out. So I'm going to go ahead and go into the shade Pickle. And I'm just going to start that off in my outer V, but I'm also going to bring that through my crease. I feel like the tones I'm going with right now are kind of giving me like grungy green vibes, but like more soft. I think, I'm also gonna go ahead and go into a bit of the shade Jungle, just because that color is speaking to me, and maybe just throw that through the crease a little bit, add a little bit more of that green. Yeah, that definitely added a little bit of a pop. To deepen up a little bit, I'm gonna go into Army, although I don't know that it's gonna make that much difference, but I just wanna try as many shades as possible. You know what? That actually did make a difference. I've just been using a Sigma E38 this whole time for all of my blending. It's honestly one of the best brushes for using only one brush. So I think that looks pretty good, but I definitely want to go into the shade Cave and just grab a little bit of that, deepen this look as much as possible. So I'm kind of just gonna put that on my outer V, just kind of stamping it down where I want it, and then I'll go in with my blending side and just smoothing it out. Yep, I mean, no issues with blending at all. I didn't even get any fallout either. So for the lower lash line, I think I'm gonna start off with just a touch of Cave, just connecting super close to my lashes, not taking that very far. And then I'm gonna go ahead and take Olive now, just trying to use as many shades as possible, and just popping that on the center. Ooh, that is so pretty. And then I think I'm gonna go ahead and dip into the chartreuse shade just because I can't help it. I love a good chartreuse. And we're gonna do a pop right here. Oh, so pretty. For the inner corner, I'm gonna go ahead and use the shade Rainforest. Ooh, that's picking up really well with a brush too. Ooh, okay. All right, Ace Beaute, I see you. I love that it looks so textured even with a brush. I think it would look beautiful with a brush or a finger, which is nice because I don't mind using my finger at all, but I know a lot of people out there get frustrated when eyeshadows only look good with a finger. If I went in with National Park all over the lid, that would be really pretty. But I also feel like I just really want to go in with this and just do more of a pop. It's really hard. Or I'm like, the chartreuse all over the lid, the matte shade would look really pretty too. There's so many things I want to do with this palette. It's ridiculous. I'm just gonna follow my heart and I'm gonna go ahead and go into chartreuse. Get that up on a fluffy packing brush and I'm gonna put that all over the lid. And just kind of blend it right here, but not really trying to take it into my crease a whole bunch. I mean, I really like that. All right, once I have it packed on, just lightly going over my crease, making sure everything's nice and soft, but I think that looks really cool. And it looks very, very bright and opaque, even for not going in with like anything extra or like an extra like lighter primer or anything to make it pop. I think it still looks pretty good. Off camera, I'm gonna use the About Face liner in the shade Acidic through my waterline, throw on some mascara, and I'll be right back. So for highlighter, I pulled out the Beauty Bay Flash Highlight, and I'm just gonna throw that on the tops of my cheekbones. I was feeling something without a ton of color to it, so I just thought something icy like this would be a good idea. Just gonna throw that on my nose too. Then for lips, I'm gonna go into the Linda Hallberg Famous lipstick. So this is the finished look. I honestly love how it turned out. I feel like everything blended super easy. The pigmentation was there. The color story is there. I only played with one shimmer today on my inner corner, but I do really, really love how that looks. And I can't wait to play with this palette more. I would say from first impression, I'm feeling really good about it. I'm feeling like it might just be an amazing option for people who love grungy green tones, but like I said, I really want to get another video up super soon, showing a few more looks with the palette and getting to play with it more and giving you guys more of my full thoughts. Also, just in case you were interested, I do have an affiliate code with Ace Beaute. It's just AMYLOVES. Saves you a little bit of money off your order and I make a commission from it, just to be transparent, but it is available. So now let's go ahead and do some comparison swatches. I pulled out some other palettes from Ace Beaute that I feel have similar shades. So first we have Tropical Vibes next to Classical Paradise. There's only one shade here that I really want to compare, and that is the shade Golden Apple. It's the only thing I feel like there's something similar, so I'm going to do Golden Apple, and I'm going to compare that to this shade right here, Jungle, because I feel like that is the closest. Okay, so not too far off. Here's Golden Apple, and here's Jungle. Jungle has slightly more green to it, but I would say that they are very similar. There is like a yellowy shade here, Maze, but it's definitely a lot like less vibrant than the yellow happening in the Tropical Vibes. So I'm not even gonna swatch it. That's the only thing close there. Okay, so next we have the Flare palette next to Tropical Vibes, and I'm only gonna compare the two greens, Moss and Sherbet. So Sherbet right here looks a lot like Chartreuse. All right, so here's Sherbet and here's Chartreuse. Sherbet's picking up a little tiny bit easier. Sherbet, Chartreuse. But again, very similar. I just feel like Chartreuse has like a little touch more green to it. So let me just go ahead and grab Mango, which is a little more yellow. We'll just put Mango right here. Yeah, it's almost like as if Chartreuse and Mango had a baby, it would be Sherbet. And then we have the shade Moss here, which I think looks closest to Army. Oh no. Okay, here's Moss and here's Army. Army's definitely a little bit deeper. I'm also gonna do this shade right here, maybe compare. No, that's a little bit lighter. Okay, so no repeats happening. So here's Moss, here's Army, and then Oahu. And then lastly, we have Oceanic next to Tropical Vibes, which Oceanic has a lot more teal and a lot more blue. So even though it does feel a little bit grungy, I feel like they're completely different vibes. So I think I'm gonna start off with Seychelles, and I'm also gonna do Mykonos right here because they look similar, but you'll be able to see the texture's completely different. So here's Oceanic and here's Tropical Vibes. Okay, I'm also gonna go ahead and do Turtle, which is like a deep true green, and compare that to Palawan. Those two are probably the closest thing that I've found yet. Yeah, those are almost pretty much like the exact same shade. I think I'm also gonna do this shade Seaweed. I'm not sure what exactly to compare it to. So there's Seaweed. I mean, I guess I could put it next to Army right here, but Seaweed's just a little bit lighter. And then I guess I could do Palm Tree, but that's a little bit more brown. No, we could do Olive. No, I mean, they're all just slightly different. I feel that's all, it's really close there. I'm like even looking at like the greeny golds, like these ones are just so much more green. So I feel like they are pretty different. I mean, looking at everything in the Ace Beaute line, the only thing super similar is these two shades. Everything else kind of stands on its own. I mean, you would probably get similar looks out of some of these, but I would say they're not really repeating from what they already have. If you'd like to see me do like a more in-depth like grungy green palette specific and compare this to other things in my collection from other brands, let me know and I can try to do that another day. But that's pretty much everything for the comparisons and the first impression. I hope this was helpful and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.